unmuting.
But that's a good idea, though, don't you think? Yeah, try them on in a store first.
And
hello. Hello.
welcome, everyone. Welcome to Bible Prophecy and Truth.
Welcome back.
So, for new people, my name is Dan. I'm the author of BibleProphecyandTruth.com. This is my wife, Colleen, co-hosting and chat moderating, and our sister in Christ, Diane, from Minnesota via Zoom. So we're on chapters 26 and 27, I think, today of the Bible Prophecy and Truth book. We're going to talk about dinosaurs in the Bible and what happened at the flood. We talked a little bit about the layers of the firmament and what happened at the flood, but we're going to talk more about what actually happened and the things that we find on the earth that we discovered today that are evidence of the flood.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting. And then, of course, we have news that relates to biblical prophecy. So welcome, everyone.
Mm-hmm. So, thumbs up, subscribe, follow, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any great uploads. My sissy just said that she's getting ready to start doing videos again. So don't miss that. You need to make sure that you are notified. Okay, so ring that little bell icon and then share this show with everyone you know. Hi, Jody.
I know.
Hey, Jody, welcome. It's been all of a minute or so.
Yeah, it's just been a minute since we saw her. Yes. Just in case anybody is interested, we have prayer meeting like an hour before Bible study. If anyone is interested, just reach out.
Okay. On Sundays. Yeah.
On Sunday. Yeah.
So before we start today, I'm just going to, I have some news. And last time, 2.5 years ago, when this started, I didn't really say anything, but I'm bringing it up today because I just want to ask for prayer, and specifically a couple of modes of prayer, if you don't mind. And so what's happened, if you've been around for a couple of years, you know that 2.5, almost 3 years ago, I ended up in the hospital with sepsis, found out that I had cancer and had surgery 2 years ago. The cancer was gone. The last scan I had, there was no malignancy. Everything was done. But recently I've had some issues, went to the doctor, and he says the cancer is back. So I had the first test, which came back definitely positive. I have not seen the extent of it or anything at this point yet. Haven't been to those tests, but I don't believe I'm going to die. I don't, if this is a test, then I'm definitely going to pass, with flying colors. Nothing like this is ever going to shake my faith in God. He's got a plan, and whatever that plan is, all things work together for good to them that love God. So I trust that it's going to be a good outcome no matter what. And so I'm going to pray at the end like I always do, and I'm going to pray for this specifically. And I'm asking everyone, if you would, to pray for this, that God, if it's his will, that he uses this to do a outright miracle and just miraculously heal me, so that I can glorify his name and magnify his name to everyone, to the doctors, and to a state where it just dumbfounds the doctors, where they'll be, wow, this was a miracle. And I'll say, yeah, it was God. And, and tell that story, and would love to be able to do that if it's God's will. But if it's not God's will, then just pray with me and pray with all of us that God will guide the doctors to get rid of this ugly disease, so that it's just gone for good. And so I'd like to pray for those two things, one or the other, whatever is God's will. And I know, like I said, I don't believe that I'm going to die. Everything does happen for a reason, especially those that love God, because as the scriptures say, all things work together for good to them that love God. And, God doesn't promise we're not going to get sick. He doesn't promise we're not going to die or any of that. Everybody in the Bible died, right? That's because of sin. And the world, as it says in Hosea 4, right? The earth is mourning. And everything is wasting away and everything is dying. And it's because of sin. And so there's a lot of cancer in the world today. And it's directly because of sin and the workings of mankind on the earth. And so that's where it's from. But God is going to do something with this. And whatever it is, I'm just going to follow him. And I'm going to trust him in it.
And we're not in denial. So we're not sitting here, we are going to take steps to go through the process.
Right.
We're not going to just sit in our chair and go, God's going to heal. God's going to heal.
I'm going to go back to the doctor and do the tests. And he's already talked about it. They're probably going to do radiation therapy, which I'm just, God has led me to this place. If he does not do an outright miracle, then I'm just going to do what the doctors say and just trust God to guide them through it and just get rid of this.
Right. So anyway, hello, Douglas, and hello, Lainey. Lainey says, what did she miss? Thank you, Douglas, very much for your prayers.
So and I appreciate that, Douglas. Lainey, you might want to back it up just a little bit because I just had a little newsy thing that I was talking about, something that's happened to me. So we're just praying for that. And like I said, I'll pray at the end and y'all can pray with me if you want. And I'm going to pray for that specifically. So enough about that for now. We're going to jump right in and look at dinosaurs in the Bible. So, share my sound. So this is pretty interesting when you look at this because I don't know. I guess most Christians know about Job and know about what happened to Job, but the fact that there's actual dinosaurs mentioned in Job, I don't know if maybe just pastors don't preach about it much, but it seems like a lot of people don't really know. There's a couple of different descriptions of dinosaurs in the Bible, and it's very interesting. So the first one is the behemoth, or the behemoth, however you would pronounce that. And people say, there's a couple things to note about this creature. First of all, he says, "Behold now, behemoth, which I made with thee." So God's saying, I made this guy when I made humans, right? This is just one of those many places in the Bible that shows us that there was no evolution in God's creation. There's no millions of years, no billions of years in there. He made the animals the day before he made human beings, one day, right? He made them with us. Yeah. Everything was all made in 6 days. And so that's one of the points. The other one is, his strength in his loins, his force in the navel of his belly. He moved with his tail like a cedar. And a lot of people, for some reason, try to say, well, this is just an elephant. But I want to show you. Hey, what happened to my keyboard? I want to just show you elephants.
Anyway,
and show you something here.
Johanna, thank you. She said praying.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Let's look at an elephant. So here's an elephant. You can see the tail. Now, if that's a cedar, that's a sapling.
Oh, yeah.
That's a sapling, right? That's not, here's another one. You can see the tail pretty well.
Oh, they're not known for their little tails.
That's not a tail like a cedar, right? He moveth his tail like a cedar.
Yeah.
Right. This is what fits that description.
Oh yeah.
This is the behemoth, right? This is his tail like a cedar. There's strength in his loins. You know, this is almost certainly what is being mentioned there in Job. So when we read this, you know, we have to pay attention to all of the words, right? And just like all scripture, and you know, it's this creature that he made with Job, and he's pointing out to Job, see this, right? Mm-hmm. It was something that was within Job's eyesight. It existed right there. And the timing of Job is debatable, but I've studied a lot of people's ideas. Hello, Kathleen. Welcome.
Hi, Kathleen.
Brontosaurus. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Douglas. But I've studied a lot of ideas on, you know, people's theories about when Job was, and I really believe that a lot of people believe that it was sometime shortly before the time of Abraham. So maybe 100, 200 years after the flood. And so remember, after the flood, that human beings' lifespans were greatly reduced, but it was only after around the second, third, fourth generation that they really got reduced. The first and second generations, they were still living in the hundreds of years, some of them like 400 years. And then the third generation down to 200 and 300. And then it was down to people were only living between 100 and 200 years. But for the first few hundred years, there was still longer lifespans, which means that the reptiles that existed at that time were also getting very large, just like they were before the flood. So this could have been a very large creature at the time he was talking to Job.
Douglas.
And thank you, Douglas. I'm going to actually talk about that right now. So thank you for bringing that up.
He said they still have them in the Congo.
Yes, exactly. Which is what I showed last. It was in our last Bible study, or no, well,
yeah, it was the last one you talked about. That.
Yeah, I talked
Douglas
about that
was here,
last
though, I
time.
think.
Yeah, where the Mokele Membe, and I have a picture of it here.
I think he was
in the Congo in Africa. Talk about this creature, and notice what it says.
Yeah.
That he lieth under the shady trees in the covert of the reed and fens. Now that the word fens there is really another word for swamp, swampland.
Okay.
So it makes sense that this Mokele Membe lives in the 50,000 square miles swamp in Africa.
Yeah.
They don't live hundreds of years anymore. Swamp. So they don't get as big as they used to. So this is definitely something that still lives today. They just don't get huge like they did before the flood. Now, a lot of the creatures that existed before the flood, in fact, I'm sure a lot of them that were brought on the ark, some of the different kinds, there are many species that have gone extinct since that time. So there's things that we might find the bones in the earth from before the flood that we don't have alive today because that species no longer exists. But everything would have been brought on the ark in young. When they were little baby reptiles, wouldn't be huge like they were. So there was plenty of room. But so this is one. This is the first creature that's talked about in Job. And it's really interesting. And like I say, this is almost certainly this that we're talking about here that is being mentioned.
They have really cute faces, though, don't they? Like their faces are cute.
Cute little things. Yeah.
Look at how cute. So cute.
So the other one.
The thing that's in the swamp.
Loch Ness.
Yeah.
So medallion may still be in oceans. Medallion. You'll have to tell me what that is. Meg. Okay. Yeah, I think that's actually one of the ones.
Megdallion.
Are you talking about the megamouth shark? These guys here? because they've actually caught them a couple of times. So they definitely do exist, if that's what you're talking about. We talked about that last time too. But so the second one that's talked about in Job is this Leviathan. And this is literally a flame goeth out of his mouth. This is a fire-breathing dragon. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, and as out of a seething pot or cauldron, his breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. I mean, this is literally a fire-breathing dragon. It's no wonder there's legends of fire-breathing dragons around the world, right? It's because they used to exist. And large shark extinct, supposedly, right? That's the megamouth that I showed. Thank you, Douglas. So I mentioned that I had this picture earlier, but I didn't. I forgot which page it was on. And here's a T-Rex skull and an iguana skull. Notice how similar they are. Now, I'm not saying that T-Rex was an iguana. I'm saying that T-Rex was a reptile that resembles other reptiles that we have alive today. And the T-Rex, the species of reptile that the T-Rex was, probably don't exist today. But this just shows us that what we already know is that it's just a reptile. And it's something that probably went extinct. But here's an interesting thing. This fire-breathing dragon, right? An iguana, when it gets mad or frightened, it sneezes, which means it kind of goes, it kind of tries to blow something as if it's expecting something, to defend itself. And which is what would happen if you had nostrils like this, which you had compartments in your head bones that when they mixed together, they turned to fire and you breathed them out, which is what they found in a lot of the head bones of dinosaurs, is that there's these chambers in the head bones and they don't really know what they are. Well, I can guess, because we can look at the bombardier beetle, which sprays flame basically out when it's being chased. And it's here's a little thing that shows it has these little compartments that when these two chemicals mix, it turns into a 212 degree Fahrenheit gas that's spewing out, which is basically like fire. So we have this that exists today, this bombardier beetle. So why wouldn't there have been some similar types of creatures, especially ones that have head bones like this? And then we hear about this fire-breathing dragon in the Bible, then certainly there were such creatures, right?
Lainey says the bearded dragon.
Bearded dragons do that? Okay.
Yeah, and they puff up and turn black.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Bearded dragon? I never heard of that, I don't think.
Douglas said, isn't there a large bird also like thunderbird or phoenix?
There are actually in this video that's at the bottom of this page, the same one that's on the other dinosaur page, shows creatures like pterodactyls and large birds, definitely, that are alive today. Yes, absolutely. So this is, I mean, that's just fascinating to me, right? The Bible actually talks about these creatures that we find in the earth that, men that don't believe in God try to tell us, well, these things died off 65 million years ago. Well, they're wrong. There's absolutely no doubt that they make things up because they have to find an alternative for God. So they take these things and run with it. And we've already talked about the fallacy of their dating methods and how wrong they are and how they just refuse to admit it. But it's absolutely fascinating. They found fossils that show the skin on dinosaurs, quote, looks remarkably like modern day lizards. Imagine that, because they are lizards, or they're reptiles anyway.
Yeah.
So, and it's easy to see how Noah got on the boat, right? He took young ones, not giant old ones. And then they actually have, there was a note I have on here somewhere where they found actual tissue in the bones of these fossils that they found of ancient creatures, right? They found actual tissue that's not rock, has not turned to stone, which is another thing that actually proves that they're not millions or billions of years old.
Douglas says, can you show the human footprints by dinosaur tracks in
the Paluxy River? Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually part of the next chapter, which we're going to go into right now, because we're done with the dinosaurs in the Bible. I've shown everything I wanted to on that. So now we're going to go to chapter 27, which is exactly where I talk about that, Douglas. And I'm going to be happy to. I'm also going to show where they found dinosaur and human footprints together in China, which is interesting.
It's funny that China would reveal that.
Well,
they're communists. I mean, they don't believe in God and creation, and
I know. But the funny thing about this is,
and Buddhists.
Buddhists up a little bit. The funny thing is, they say they've discovered the world's only evidence of coexisting human beings and dinosaur tracks, which I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me just skip to the Paluxy River tracks here. We've got many, many different evidences of dinosaur and human tracks together. So it's definitely not the only.
Yeah, but where's that other photo? He was talking about
there's a few others I'm going to show, but I'm going to get there in a sec. Yeah. I just wanted to go back to this because, they say that these are the only ones, but obviously they're not. You can see the tracks. That's actually like these little, I believe these are the tracks. I don't know for sure which are the human tracks on this picture, this particular photo. There's another one here of the same.
God,
upside down.
Evidence for
that's
us.
upside down.
People aren't looking at that.
Isn't that upside down?
It does look like it's upside down, doesn't it?
It's a cave.
Can I flip?
Oh, is it a cave? Well, let's see.
It is a cave, I believe. So I don't know if it's upside down. But
that thing is on the ground, like the thermostat or something.
But remember, they have actually.
Looks like a thermostat or something.
They have. Let me do this because it keeps disappearing.
Maybe
every time I full screen
after
this.
the flood, things got all turned,
jumbled up.
Twisted.
Well, remember when we look at this, I have I believe it's on this page.
The one on the wall.
Yeah, where there's actual vertical cliffs.
Oh, yeah.
With tracks running along them. Let me see where I have
that. Is really cool.
Here's another one, by the way, of a human
the one I think
and a dinosaur track.
Douglas was talking about.
Yeah,
that one.
These are, there's lots and lots of evidence of dinosaurs and humans together, as we talked about in this particular study. Let me go, I believe, maybe it's this one where I have, they have actual dinosaur tracks going across the vertical cliff. So if it's in a cave and it's maybe on the ceiling, it would be because when the earth was in such upheaval during the flood, and especially at the end where it was moving so much earth around, because the water was literally sloshing around for a while, and it moved the rocks into these vertical positions that they are. After they turned to stone, they got moved and put in this vertical position, which is pretty obvious, right? There was no dinosaur running across it on a vertical incline, right? This is just everything. You have to remember, everything that we find literally proves the flood of Genesis. All of these things that we find show the dramatic effects to the earth that the flood had. And that's what we're talking about here today, is all the things that happened because of the flood. And I'm going to get back to that. There's some more, there's like this footprint here, where it shows the human. This is a three-toed dinosaur track. See that? And then there's a footprint in the middle of it, of a human. And just like the other one, right? Just like this other one that you see, not that one, but the other one I showed you. But, there's lots of evidence of that. And let's go back though. I want to talk about what happened, because remember when we talked about what happened with the firmament, right? And the layers of firmament, and how there was waters above and waters below and many, many layers, and how it really means firmament means to, it's properly an expanse, by implication to overlay. So the firmament really is just overlays of expanses in God's creation, in the physical universe. And how there, was likely a layer of water, which is when the windows of heaven were opened, that's what came raining down on the earth when the fountains of the great deep were broken up. And so when we have that effect happening on the earth, it's like, if when a cold front meets a warm front in our current atmosphere right now, if a cold front and a warm front meet, what happens? Major storms.
Yeah.
Major storms. And when the windows of heaven were opened, the cold of space, 459.6 degrees below zero, came down into our atmosphere. At the same time, these massive geysers of spewing hot water were being forced out of the ground. So massive heat, that's the scalding heat that created these footprints and turned them to stone, right? The footprints were in soft mud, and then it was fired and turned to stone by the massive heat that was happening. And then because of the cold and the warm, I'm sure there was a storm like no storm anyone has ever seen.
Not even Florida. Huh?
Even in Florida, even the hurricanes, right? It's nothing.
Douglas said maybe that's why the sky's blue.
Yeah.
Because of the water.
Where was it that you said they found trees with fruit on them that used
I'm going to talk about that. It's actually right here on this, where in the Arctic Circle, they found a 90-foot plum tree with green leaves and ripe fruit on its branches 600 miles north of the Arctic Circle in the New Siberian Islands. There was a saber-toothed tiger in the tree.
Well, I wish we could get a picture of that.
I know.
Yeah,
I
wish we had a picture. But they found many examples of animals frozen solid with food still in their mouth, standing on their feet. And how does that happen?
Yeah.
Because if you freeze to death, you lay down and you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when you freeze to death.
Mm-hmm.
For you to be frozen in place while you're moving or chewing the food still in your mouth requires like 300 degrees below zero to just suddenly freeze you so fast that you don't even have time to spit out the food in your mouth or fall over. That's what happened when the super cold of space came down into our atmosphere and actually hit the earth, where certain places would have got super cold cells that would have hit when the windows of heaven were opened and that all came raining down.
Yeah, well, in my video on creation versus evolution, I've got a picture on there where it shows animals that were crossing a stream or something and just froze in place.
Yeah, froze solid. Yeah, there's lots and lots of examples of that. That are all over. And here's the thing: when that happened, that's where these massive ice caps came from. And then there's evidence of the poles, the planetary poles shifted. And they know scientific evidence shows that about 4,000 years ago, the magnetic poles on the planet had a massive shift that happened. And well, you know what it was? So ice at 300 degrees below zero is magnetic.
Mm.
So the water that came down froze solid was magnetic, and the two poles went like that while this event was taking place.
Yeah.
And everything, all of the scientific evidence that we find in the earth proves the flood 100%. Mm-hmm. If you just understand what happened at the flood and see the evidence in the earth. And that's definitely the reason for Antarctica being frozen. There were probably poles before the flood, but they would have been very, very small. There would have been a region that was colder, but it would have been a very small region because it was more or less what do you call that when they have it's a greenhouse, and more or less a greenhouse effect on the whole earth before the flood, before the windows of heaven were open and that layer of water came down on the earth. So the poles would have been very, very tiny at that time. There would have been a lot more land mass on the earth, because right now, remember, there's 70% of the earth is covered in water. Well, before the flood, all that water wasn't there. There certainly would have been lakes and oceans and rivers and all of that, but we didn't have massive water like the Pacific Ocean. And that's where, you see in the Pacific Ocean where there's this cliff. There's a cliff around the edge of the ocean where it's just a straight up and down cliff and there's a spot where it's almost 7 miles deep in the Pacific Ocean because the water caused the ocean floor to collapse, to move, and to cause it to sink. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the word. And that still happens today. When, like for the Nile, for example, the Nile River, when it floods annually, the land around the Nile River sinks a little bit still today. Well, after the flood, when there was so much water covering the mountains on the earth, that's what caused that massive sinking of the land underneath the oceans of the world. And that's why we have the oceans. That's why we still have ice in the polar regions. And I want to show you this. I'll show you this one first. This is what science shows us. This is scientific evidence that the ice sheets used to extend this far down, almost halfway down the United States. Now, I blotted this out because it's not billions of years ago, dude. This is only 4,000 years ago. And so, but the ice sheets used to, does the new Earth supposedly have no oceans? No. I can't say that would be for sure, Douglas, but
that's an interesting question.
It's an interesting question because there probably weren't, there may have been smaller oceans, smaller seas, I'm sure, on the Earth, but these massive, gigantic oceans that we have today wouldn't have existed before the flood. And I'm sure after, when God recreates all of heaven and the new earth, then there won't be a beach. It's going to be like, well, we'll still have seas, right? There will be smaller seas and you'll still have your beach to run on. It just won't be as large and as deep as the Pacific Ocean, right? So that's a good question. But so after the flood, the ice sheets came down, and there's evidence of the ice melting, the washouts and everything, and there's animals found everywhere. There's land animals found in the frozen tundra, that like, how did they get there? Well, it wasn't frozen before the flood, Yeah. And this one shows where there's all of the washouts. As the ice has receded and melted, there's evidence of that all over the earth. And this is a picture of the evidence of those things, the scientific names for these particular things that they find in the earth that proves that there used to be ice there that has receded, and it leaves these features. So the ice before the flood, or right after the flood, sorry, covered a lot more of the earth than it does today.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
and isn't there a dinosaur graveyard out west, like in Utah or something?
Oh,
yes, and I don't know about Utah,
that's
but
interesting.
I'm actually going to show a couple of graveyards. There's one here that's where you've got this massive graveyard. I don't remember where that is, but one of the things,
like going up the United States. It's like a trail.
This is in Colorado here.
Colorado.
This is the Dinosaur National Monument in Colorado, where there's massive graveyard of dinosaurs. Absolutely. And this is the interesting thing about this. I'm going to show you this. Is
how can you tell what's what on there?
Well, you can't just by looking at that, but when they dig it up, this is what they found. It contains lots of fossils: clams, mollusks, turtles, crocodilians, amphibians, fish, insect, fossilized plants, pretty much everything, along with all of the dinosaur species that they found. Right, all of these dinosaur species they found in there, along with amazingly modern creatures that we still have today. Mm-hmm. Alligators, turtles, fish, wood, plant matter, frogs, freshwater clams, alligators. So I mean, this is another place where it's just like, it's baffling to the scientists, but it's not at all baffling to us. I mean, we understand that this all happened at the flood. And that's the thing is, this event was a massive, humongous event that affected the entire earth and leaves all of the evidence that we find today in the earth. Things like this. Let me show you this. Like this is folded layers of rock.
A death blow to the evolution worldview and to the old earth worldview. Check this out. I'm here at Monument Fold. This is where Dr. Schnelling and other geologists, Dr. John, have been doing their research, and the research is coming back to show all of these layers are folded just in the same spot here. And from the tapetes up above it, the bright angel, the muav, they're all folded. And he is demonstrating that fold took place while they were all soft sediment, which means there was no millions of years involved in laying down these rocks. And this is right here. This is a death blow to the evolution worldview and to the old earth worldview. It's incredible. I just feel it's epic. It's monumental to be at a place like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is absolutely epic to see that and understand that those layers of rock were folded and laid down there while they were still soft. Yeah, it was a single event that did that. And all of the evidence, literally all of the evidence in the earth. Why does this keep doing that?
I don't know.
Yeah. But all of the evidence in the earth literally proves the flood of Genesis. It really was.
Cold.
And right. And the coelacanth I talked about in a previous live. Absolutely. And the funny thing about the coelacanth is it was supposed to be the first fish that actually crawled up on land. But the coelacanth is a deep water fish and can't survive in shallow water. So how did it crawl out to survive on dry land, right? And they still exist today, even though they're supposed to be extinct. Exactly. I mean, all of it is ridiculous. Absolutely. And then here's, I showed you some of these footprints before, but here's some other evidence that we find, like this human footprint, actually. or this human handprint that they found.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, this is a new one that I've got. And people try to debunk these. Every time anything like this is found, the hardcore evolutionists will try to debunk it. Well, this is not old, but this is a human handprint in rock, right? And you can take images of, and prove by the rock that's underneath it that it was created. It wasn't carved. I mean, they try to say that these are carved and faked by people that believe in creation.
How do you explain cement? Like, people write in cement and all it does is gets hard, and
right.
So why does it take billions of years?
Well, I know, and it only takes as little as a year for something to fossilize. Exactly. So, but they do all these tests to find the actual stress and the substance, the rock beneath the actual print. And they show the stress that shows that it was actually soft when it happened and all that. It wasn't a carving like someone trying to fake it. I mean, they do that every time.
Yeah.
I wonder what that person was doing when it went like that.
I know.
Well, they probably fell and their hand hit the mud, and then they got up and kept running, because everything at the time of the flood, all these footprints, was running full tilt, because they were trying to escape this catastrophe that was happening on the earth.
Maybe they were just trying to escape all the dinosaurs.
Yeah, well, that too.
Like in Land of the Lost.
Yeah.
Somebody Sataka.
So
weird.
So this, I mean, all of these things, that people that are hardcore evolutionists absolutely just ignore these things, and they'll try. Yeah, they were trying to get to higher ground. Exactly, Douglas. And but they try to debunk all of this. But things like the Paluxy River, I mean, there's layers of rock here on the Paluxy River. What they do is they'll go to the next layer down, and they'll find footprints there as well, because all of these layers got laid down while it was still soft, and the earth was in this tremendous turmoil as the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were open, and there was this massive storm going on the planet, and all of this happened in a single event. And that's why you find another layer beneath this one it's not attached rock. It's a layer where the layer on top is laying on top of the next layer down. They're not sequential, just a seam. It's a layer that got folded and laid down on top of it. And the layer beneath has footprints just like this. Just like that video was talking about how it was folded all in a single event, which is exactly what happened at the flood. And then I told you about the amber before, when we were talking about what happened and what the earth was like before the flood. There was 50% more oxygen, is what they found, because amber is fossilized tree sap. And when they find little air bubbles in the fossil, and so they can analyze the air, what the air was like when that became a rock. And it has 50% more oxygen. And the scientific evidence and the theories laid down about all of this is that there was this 50% more oxygen, and there was also about double the PSI that we have in our atmosphere today. There was double the atmospheric weight on the planet, the pounds per square inch, right? It was heavier, and there was more oxygen in it. And it's just like a hyperbaric chamber. Pressurized oxygen therapy is what they use to heal people today. The hyperbaric chambers, and it has more oxygen, and it's pressurized, because you heal so much faster. And this is why animals and humans lived so much longer before the flood, because it was an ideal environment that God created.
Douglas.
Since the flood, the the earth has been changing ever since the flood.
I wonder if the humans got along with the dinosaurs at that time.
Well, they probably used
They
them
were
as
eating.
workhorses, just like we do animals today, which is probably how they moved these, many, many ton rocks around that people can't explain, because they used the dinosaurs as a workhorse. Exactly. Now, some of the dinosaurs wouldn't have been friendly, but, and then
T-Rex.
to your question, Douglas, it did not rain before the flood. In fact, the Bible says that the earth was watered from the ground. Let me find that. It says mist, and Genesis 2:6. The Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground.
Mhm.
It didn't rain. It had never rained until the flood.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good question. Thank you.
Yes. It might have
That's
been
why a
somebody
lot of
else.
people didn't believe Noah when he said it was going to rain, and they're like, "What?"
Yes.
Exactly. And you must have
Right.
just read Douglas's mind, because he said that's why Noah was made fun of.
Yeah.
Because, he's building this boat on dry land and everybody's laughing at him. Like, what are you building this boat for? You're dumb.
Well, did they
man."
even know what a boat was? Well, I guess so.
Well, they would
'cause
have
had
seas
ocean.
and
Yeah.
lakes
Yeah.
and rivers,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But that's just,
Especially a boat that big.
and even animals did not eat meat before the flood. Let's see if I can find that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
So they didn't have T-Rexes
it was
because
meat
they eat meat.
for them.
Unless they
Because-
ate plants.
They ate
Everything was
people.
vegetarian before
Yeah. My perfect environment, right?
meat. Or let me find it here real quick. Yeah. Genesis. So I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. That was at the end of the creation. And then
so nice.
after the flood is when God said it was okay to eat meat. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things.
Right.
It was after the flood that meat then became something eaten.
The first
Yeah.
time when I was a vegetarian and the first time I ate like a steak, I got so deathly ill. And I wonder, remember that? We cooked out, it was down Park.
Yeah.
And I got
You just didn't like the you didn't like the taste of it, and you didn't like it, how it sat in your stomach, and
yeah. And so I'm wondering like how they,
how they felt about it.
yeah, well, how they integrated into being, like
Well, they must
what's
have eaten a lot of
word?
fish too, if they're by a river or lake or something.
Well,
Right,
yeah. But before
I think-
that, they were vegetarians,
Right. Everything was.
so they didn't even eat
Yeah.
fish.
I have a hard time eating beef because there's so much protein. It fills me up. I take 2 bites and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you should learn to eat it, because meat is the best thing you can ever eat today. And that's why,
Carnivore.
that's literally why God made this change, because he knew that we would not get enough nutrition from just eating fruits and vegetables, that we would need meat. And today, especially with all the ground has been leached under the farms, there's no nutrition in the things they grow in farms anymore, except what the FDA forces them to put back in. And it's like eating cardboard. You really need to eat meat to get good nutrition today.
Grass-fed.
Yeah, grass-fed meat. Yeah, not lab-grown meat. No.
Hormones. They put a lot of hormones.
And then this is, what you were talking about, these clusters animal graveyards that they found. You know, they found everything together, right? They found literally all kinds of life all buried together in clusters all over the earth. Man, dinosaurs and mammals together. I mean, it's just, there's so many different species that were buried together. They have seashells on the top of the mountain chains. I mean, how do you explain seashells on the top of the mountain chains if there was no flood that covered the mountains?
Right.
You know, it's just that they ignore so many things.
Yeah, because they don't want
to disbelieve in God. Yeah, from the water receding, exactly. And that's where the clumps of bones came from too, is, you know, it's like if your yard floods and the water recedes, all that junk that floated to the top ends up at the sides as the water recedes in clumps. And then and that's the same thing that happened at the flood. It all clumped together, and that's why you've got these massive clumps of graveyard all over the place. Everything literally proves the flood. And then, you know, they say that it takes millions of years to create a fossil. Well, how about things like this, where there's a fossilized foot in a modern boot? Like, I don't think it takes millions of years,
well,
dude.
maybe they had cowboys a million years ago.
Yeah, with modern boots, exactly. Yeah, sure they did.
Cowboys have been around for a long time.
How about this? A bottle that's wrapped in a rock.
Yeah.
Now that took millions of years. This is a modern bottle, you know, a machine-made bottle, not glass blown, you know. And then here's petrified prunes in 1 year.
Oh, Brittany.
1 year.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hey,
she
Brittany.
said hi. I'm sorry. I'm
Sorry,
late.
I'm late.
It's
No,
okay.
we're glad you're here.
I'm glad you're
glad
here.
to see you, Brittany. So make sure you back up and start at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
because
make
you've
sure
missed a
you.
lot.
Yeah, you've missed a lot.
So this is all stuff that people that are just hardcore evolution, and I'm going to believe it no matter what you show me. They just ignore all of these things.
Yeah.
And you know, if you want to know the truth, why would you ignore evidence?
Yeah.
That would show you the truth. And it's just because they don't want to know the truth.
No.
Which is what we're going to talk about in the next live. We're going to conclude this study. And then we're going to go into the notes, and I'm going to talk about Islam and the Bible and things like that. But in our next live, I'm going to talk about why men believe in evolution, because they hate God. They do not want to believe in a higher being. They want to think they're the greatest thing that's ever existed. And they're so full of pride, they can't allow themselves to believe in God. And it's a sad, sad thing. Space travel through Van Allen radio. I do not know what you're talking about, Douglas.
Please elaborate. And Brittany, go ahead and definitely like go to the very beginning. Yeah, because you missed some stuff. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
And then
definitely.
Here's another picture. Now, this is a coal seam. Here's a guy showing where this is.
Oh, okay.
There's a modern drill bit in a coal seam, which they say takes tens of thousands of years for coal to be created. I mean, no, obviously not. You know, they say wood actually can turn into coal in a year or less.
Yeah,
is what they found. This is scientific evidence that coalification can occur over just a few days. Yeah. So that kind of blows that whole tens of thousands of years narrative that they try to make us believe, right? Just like the fossils, you know, they're not billions or millions of years old. They're a few thousand years old. That's it. And then they try to say that it took millions of years and tremendous pressure to create diamonds. but they can make diamonds today. You can make a diamond today that's indistinguishable from a real diamond manufactured. So obviously does not take millions of years and tremendous pressure. So this is, I mean, this is like one of my favorite part of all of this is the study of this, knowing what happened after knowing what the flood caused and all the evidence in the earth that we see today, the magnetic poles shifting on the ice where it used to be, all the massive graveyards, the animals that are buried deep in the ice that are not supposed to be, cold creatures, and, all of the things that they find in the earth. Like, forgot to show you this one, a tusk of an imperial mammoth in Texas. Yeah. No, they didn't. Wow. They were just large. They were just a creature that existed before the flood, but have gone extinct now. There's just so much evidence. Same strata as mammoth, cave bear, rhinoceros, hyena, horse, deer, oxen, bison, red deer, reindeer, antelope, badgers, ass, lynx, fox, wolf, marmot, leopard, all kinds of birds. I mean, all of these things found in the same strata as other things that are supposed to be extinct.
Sea creatures.
I mean, it's ridiculous. The science evidence proves the global flood in many, I mean, just everything, literally. Like these, for example, this is rock. Well, how did it get like that, right? Well, it was folded while it was still soft, right? These mountains, the mountain chains were created at the flood. And certainly there were hills and mountains before the flood, but they probably weren't anywhere near as tall as they have them today. And you didn't have this where you had these massive foldings of rock all along the mountain. That happened because it was soft material and it was crunched together and folded and turned to stone. I mean, this is all, you can't explain these kinds of things with evolution because that didn't happen over millions of years. That rock got folded and bent in a single event. Look at this curling of the rock.
Yeah, right.
That was obviously soft while it was folded and bent. And they totally ignore these things. So, I'm glad I went back up and showed you those things. But there's so much evidence that they love to ignore. And I've got a link here on this page as well, on a link to the Creation versus Evolution seminar that basically what Diane did is she took a live stream series that we did on Creation versus Evolution, and she broke them up into 3 videos, which shows massive amounts of alternative video that she's added that shows evidence of everything that I've talked about during this study. And if you haven't seen
it took a lot of research for her.
She spent a lot of time in research, and they're really, really good. If you haven't seen that series, definitely check it out.
Yeah, everybody, you need to watch these because we had so much fun.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
So that's the Creation versus Evolution. Now, one thing before we move on to the news, though, I want to talk to you about something that's kind of related to our study of evolution. And what I want to talk to you about is this new movie that's out, and we actually went and watched it. The first day it came out, and it's this new movie called Disclosure Day. And the reason I bring it up is because everything that they do, they're always trying to make up ways to mislead us and to deceive us. And if you go to videos.prophecyandtruth.com, under modern day, I have a link on the subtle conditioning from Satan, the subtle programming of Satan. These videos that I have here are
It's
like
called Disclosure.
Disclosure Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about aliens, right?
Yeah.
Coming to the earth, and basically it's a movie, and it's kind of interesting how it kind of coincides with Trump's releasing of all of these alien documents and videos that they have that were classified, and he's released them all, and then this movie comes out, and it's kind of like this movie where, you know, Satan's subtle conditioning, where in the movie it's got, it is written, but then at the end of the movie, oh, but the truth is nothing is written. Right?
Yeah, that's not in Disclosure.
You know, this is a different movie, right? But this is the subtle programming. And then, so in this movie, right, this is they, and I'm going to say a couple of things that they say in the movie, because if you do watch it, I want you to listen for these things. They said that math, they basically said that math is God. They didn't say those words, but they said that math is the power, the thing in the universe that was creation, is math. They're trying to say that math is what created all things.
Mathematician.
I mean, it's kind of silly, but
mathematics.
but this is the subtle programming that Satan's using to get people to believe in evolution, right? And then they said in the movie that the next stage of our evolutionary track requires empathy. Without empathy, we would die off and human beings would cease to exist. They actually said that in the movie. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that this worldly idea of love and acceptance and tolerance is what we need to evolve.
Then why have we been here for thousands of years? We're still here.
Well, it's stupid, and it's not God's love. God's love is a completely different love than the world tries to say love is. God's love is not tolerant and accepting.
Right.
God's love is to warn people of the consequences of sin and evil. Yeah.
Did you watch this on YouTube or was it on Netflix?
I know, at the theater.
We went to the theater. It's just got it just
It
released.
just came out
It won't
Friday.
be on YouTube for a while. But yeah.
You could probably find it in the theater.
Yeah. And I love to watch these because I love to pick out all the little subtle things that Satan tries to do to fool us. And it's been going on for so long, it's no wonder that people are absolutely just totally deceived.
Right.
Disclosure Day. Yeah.
No, he's saying it's like Deception Day.
Yes, exactly. Good point.
Deception Day.
Yeah.
And then another thing I want to point out is they said basically that man was not the only special creation of God. We're only the special creation of God on the earth, according to the movie. And this was a nun. They're using a nun in the movie to say
that's
this.
true, yeah.
To try to make people think that this is actual truth, godly. You know, the Bible does not say that we're only special on the earth. This nun acted like God said that. Well, no, God did not say that. It is not in the Bible. And the Bible actually tells us that we're very, very special, that we're the first fruits of God's creation, that we are made in the image of God. I mean, there's so many things that prove this false. Animals are alien, third angel, third human, third animal. Wow. Yeah.
Well, and you know, God or Jesus died on the cross for us, not the angels.
Right. And not for aliens either. So I want to just show you this scripture that proves that this is a fallacy. Okay, so I'm going to go through some scriptures that show this. So Genesis 1:27 for the first thing. God created man in his own image. We are extremely special.
Yeah.
We're made in the image of God.
Mm.
We're not just one of many creations of God. And I'm going to show you some more scriptures on that. I mean, God became a man.
Mm-hmm. Not an alien.
He didn't become some alien, right? And remember, it was by him and for him that all things were created. All of creation was by him, Jesus, and for him, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
The man that God became was the reason for all of creation. There's no other special creations of God in this particular the age that we're in, right? Before he recreates all of heaven and earth. Yeah, so-called aliens have human resemblance. I know. They always look like us.
Yeah, two
for some
legs,
reason.
arms, eye. Yeah, right.
Satan
right.
is definitely copying. And then,
Yeah,
And they breed.
you know, some of these, I want to go back here because I want to talk about something else since you brought that up. If you go to under Bible prophecy on videos.prophecyandtruth.com, this link on aliens, because if you look at this, you'll find out, and especially in like these videos and the scientists that are talking about these things, there's the opening of the deep is a great video too. But this shows where the aliens, you want to talk about Satan's deception. The aliens that existed along like 100 years ago, when people thought that aliens were from the moon, well, guess where the aliens said they were from?
The moon.
The moon.
Oh.
And then when we graduated to, oh no, aliens are from Mars, guess where the aliens started saying they were from? Mars. Now that we're, oh no, aliens are from deep space. Guess where the aliens are
Deep
saying they're from
space.
now? Deep space. Exactly. Satan is just copying and going along with whatever we believe to make us, to deceive us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interdimensional portals. Yeah. And that's
That'll
literally
be the next thing.
but that's literally where, I mean, the spiritual realm you could call another dimension, right? So angels and spirits are part of another interdimensional realm, and they're the things that are pretending to be aliens, so they're definitely coming from there. Yeah. Anyway, back to that. You brought that up, so I had to.
Yeah.
But then, you know,
There you go, Douglas.
all things were made by him and for him. And here's a video that I just made that I invite everyone to watch. It's 6 minutes. It's the entire plan of God in a nutshell. And I would just invite you to watch it, just because I try to put things in a video format. When I write my articles, I try to write it in such a way that I can just help you see and help you understand. And I did this video to try to help everyone understand what the plan of God is, what this entire plan of God is, and why. So please do watch that video. But I'm going to talk about some other things. When Jesus returns, the heavens will roll up like a scroll and, quote, burn away and cease to bring light to the earth. So like Isaiah 34, I'm going to show you here. Let me find Isaiah.
Lainey said, thank you. Those videos are awesome. Oh, good, Lainey.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you for saying so. Isaiah 34, 4. So this is prophecy of the same prophecy of the return of Christ, Matthew 24, right? This is the return of Christ, the sixth seal, the seventh trumpet, the seventh vial, Matthew 24, Ezekiel 38, Isaiah 34. These are all talking about that event. And the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and all the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine. So my question is, and so in 2 Peter 3, let's just look at a couple more of these. 2 Peter 3 is where he talks about it being burnt up. Verse 12, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Right? These are telling us, Isaiah 13:9. Let's go back to Isaiah. These are all telling us what the day of the Lord is. When Christ returns in the clouds of heaven with power and glory, as it tells us in Matthew 24, this is the day of the Lord. And the day of the Lord cometh cruel both in wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. And the sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So tell me why.
It sounds like what it's saying is he's not going to take them away. They're just not going to show light.
Well, and they're going to be rolled together as a scroll, or going to be burnt up, as it says, with fervent heat, as it says in Peter. I think that, remember, God is going to recreate the heavens and the earth at the end of the 1,000 years. Mm-hmm. This is the beginning of the 1,000 years. There's not going to be any stars of heaven for the entire 1,000-year reign of Christ.
Wow. So at nighttime, it's just going to be pitch black.
Well, I'm sure that the light is going to come from God.
Oh.
And this doesn't say it definitely, but when you read all the scriptures we just read, we see, the sun shall be turned to darkness. Let's continue to read here. So let's go to Joel chapter 2, verse 31. And just read all of these together, because, the sun shall be turned to darkness, the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord. Matthew 24. I mean, this is where Jesus appears in the clouds of heaven with power and glory. Oops. And there shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and all the tribes of earth shall mourn and see the sign of the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. But I'm sorry, I skipped the first verse. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. So whether or not it stays dark for the 1,000 years or not, I can't say that for sure, but it sure sounds like it to me, because at the end is when God recreates the heavens.
Lainey's got a question.
He shall destroy the sinners. Well, not all of them will cease to exist. Now, the entire fourth beast of Daniel 7 is going to be destroyed. So probably all of the Muslims on the earth, because that's what it looks like the fourth beast is going to be, is a 10-nation union of Muslim nations that hail the Antichrist as their Mahdi. And that's speculative, of course, because it hasn't happened yet. But we know that the clay of the statue in Daniel 2 is going to be part of the end time government, and that is the Islamic Empire. So, but remember in Daniel 7, it says that, excuse me, my voice is going on me. It says that the fourth beast will be destroyed. But as concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season at a time. So Jesus comes, puts down the governments of men, and takes over to rule with a rod of iron for 1,000 years. The fourth beast is destroyed, right? The fourth beast is gone, and which includes the Antichrist and the false prophet and the beast that he created, the government that he created. But the rest of the beasts live into the 1,000-year reign.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So this is all. I've got a video that you might like. I don't know if you've seen it yet. What will life be like during the millennial reign? I know I have it on here. Where is it? The millennial reign. I remember it's under. Maybe it's under.
You should go to search.
Yeah. Let me search for it because I'm having a hard time finding it.
Millennial reign.
Yeah. Well, let me try the millennium. Or maybe I need two
millennial
N's.
reign.
I need two N's. That's what I need. Yeah. So what will life be like during the millennial reign of Christ? There's a link to the video right here. So it's on the prophecy page. And this actually shows what we can expect during the 1,000-year reign and what leads up to it, like what happens at the return of Christ, and then what goes into the millennial reign. Now there's a video and a document. So if you prefer to read, you can read the document there. But that you might find that interesting. But so my whole point that I'm bringing up here with the stars of heaven being gone is, why would God create creatures just to destroy them because of our sin?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why would God do that? That wouldn't make any sense at all, to wipe them out because we sinned.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And then, but I also want to share you a couple more things, because in Revelation 21, I'll show you some more scriptures which show additional information about this idea, right? And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away.
Yeah.
So they're gone. The whole heaven, the heaven is the entire universe. From the surface of the earth and outward is the heavens. They're going to be gone.
If outer space is no longer there, what replaces
He's going to
it?
create a new space, probably.
He's going to recreate heaven and
New
earth.
heaven and earth.
And it's going to be ours to inherit and have as a playground forever. Yeah. Now, will God maybe make creatures then? So let's look at that question, because that's a good one.
That's a good question.
So again, but before we go there, again in 2 Peter, if we go, we see the new heaven and the new earth. Also here, nevertheless, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness, because there's not going to be any evil in the new heavens and the new earth. But here's the thing. We are the precious fruit of God's creatures. James chapter 1. Of his own will begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. So we are the first.
Which means there could be
God's
a second. You didn't say only.
After, when he recreates all things, that doesn't mean there won't be life out there in the universe. But we are as very special, made in his image, first fruits.
So you don't think it could be animals?
It could be, who knows? It could be, I'm sure he'll have life on there'll be other planets and things in the new creation. But be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth. He's talking about us.
Right.
We are his precious first fruits that he created in his image, that will inherit all things when he recreates the heavens and the earth. So if there's going to be alien-like creatures, maybe they will be later, but they are not now. So I think that kind of says it fairly well
Yeah, they answered the
to
question.
answer that question. Now, and if aliens do appear, which the fifth trumpet almost certainly is going to be alien-like creatures. They're going to say they're aliens, and it's going to be demons coming out of the great deep in the shape of this locust-like creature that has a sting like a scorpion, and just, you know, I'm gonna go there because I want to show you some artists' renderings of this creature and what it might be. If you go to my Aliens in the Bible page, this is probably something similar to this that we might see.
There's another one on there that I thought was really good that I like.
Yeah, there's a few more on this page that I have.
That's the second one.
Artist renderings.
That
this
one right there.
This one's more like a real locust with this weird
with
face
tail.
and the tail and wings, because it will definitely have wings. You know, these are just some artist renderings of what it might look like. You know, and it's probably going to be a swarm like that, because there's going to be, you know, the great deep is going to be opened, which is where demons are imprisoned right now. Yeah, that's the demon that possessed the man that Jesus expelled and what's the word? Exorcised out of the man that Jesus threw out of the man, called himself Legion.
Put him in the swine.
Yeah, and they said, please don't make us go to the deep. Which is the same thing as the bottomless pit, the abyss.
You'd think they would love the bottomless pit.
They said, let us go into the pigs. So he let them go into the pigs, but then, of course, all the pigs ran into the water and died, and they ended up in the deep anyway. But that's where all of these, there are massive amounts of evil spirits in the deep that's going to be opened at the fifth trumpet. And they're going to come out in this form like these creatures and torment men for 5 months. But that's a whole nother Bible study that we've done. They will see what we see, but they're going to say it's aliens. This is why, Lainey, I believe that Satan is setting up the world to believe in aliens with these movies and all of these things, all of these creatures, that there literally are creatures that come and abuse people. Literally happens, but they are evil spirits pretending to be aliens. They pretend to be spacecraft flying at 25,000 miles per hour. There's, you know, those videos that I showed you a little bit ago. If you look for aliens, this guy is an astrophysicist who, it's an interview with this guy that says he was given the job as the low man on the totem pole when he got a job at a place where he was the one that got to go and investigate all the alien sightings. Yeah. And he said that 99% of them were explainable by something, right? Some event or military aircraft or something that could be explained with science. But the 1% residual that could not be explained were things like, there was an alien ship that crashed and everybody saw it. And you go to the crash site and there's an actual crash site where there's a furrow in the earth and the vegetation's destroyed, but there's no artifact. There's no craft. There's no ship there. There's nothing, because it was a demon pretending to be an alien ship that crashed to try to convince us that there are aliens, because when this happens, when the fifth trumpet blows, they're going to say they're aliens. But I guarantee you.
But they're definitely going to see the actual creature. But the whole world is going to be trying to exterminate them. The military's going to come out.
They're going to be here for 5 months and torment.
5 months.
And then, you know, when they die off and go away, they're going to say, oh, they must have died from like bacteria on the planet or something, like War of the Worlds, right? Yeah. And they're going to, I'm serious. I know that Satan is setting up the world for aliens
be really
because
hard.
of the fifth trumpet.
And it's going to be so hard to get people to understand that description of that creature is literally in the Bible. And people are not going to want to believe that it was God. They're going to think that they were aliens.
But we're going to be here.
There are so many alien movies out there. It's like they're just pushing it.
Yes.
And this new one, oh boy, is it going to convince so many people. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
why,
I agree, Lainey.
Yeah. The same ones that believe in evolution. Absolutely. And that's why I said earlier that it's a strange coincidence to me. This movie comes out shortly after the files are released from the government.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a coincidence at all. No, I know that this is Satan setting up the world is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I wanted to bring all that up. It kind of goes along with our discussion on creation versus evolution. So the delusion is definitely getting stronger.
L27, welcome.
L87.
87. I can't say this.
People are beginning to pull out so-called hidden scripture. Oh boy. Yeah, well, there's the Apocrypha. There's all kinds of new
that's interesting
scriptural texts being found. I know. Yeah. Yep. Hey, welcome, by the way.
Yeah, welcome.
So that's, I wanted to bring that up for this particular discussion. So let's jump to the news now, because oh boy, I've got some more stuff to talk about. Now this is just to go along with what I just talked about. You know, this whistleblower saying aliens are real, and a scientist.
Yeah, Tim's got him.
And now first, what are they going to do? They've got protocols for first alien contact. I mean, this is how deep it goes, right? This is how deceived they are. And I have to ask, SETI. You've heard of SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, that's been listening to the universe for decades now. And I was actually, before I was a Christian, I actually had several computers that were running the SETI app, analyzing the sounds that came from space to help, because I was looking to see if they could find aliens. Yeah, I absolutely did.
Oh, wow. You were.
Now I know the truth, and I'm grateful to God.
Did you actually hear anything?
No, that's the reason I put this here is because even though it's been listening for decades, they've never heard anything that could be said to be any kind of alien race or anything like that. Yeah.
You don't hear any screaming or anything?
Earth to outer space. Out there, and you're going,
Yeah. Well, that's, we've sent things out to try to reach aliens. They sent out the probe that's gone. I think it's gone beyond our solar system now. That's way, way out there, that has recordings and things from Earth to, greet any aliens it might find.
Good luck. What a bunch of waste of time.
That's such a waste of billions of dollars of,
yes, it is.
Money.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to bring up Disclosure Day, because there's so much deception, just subtle deception in these movies. And wow, is that big time in this one, because I think Satan thinks the fifth trumpet's about to blow. So yeah.
Ooh, I know.
So moving on, there's some very, very confusing things going on.
But I got my
the news today.
Wait, L87 said, I know a person who's, can you read it better over there?
I know of a person who's gone to see a psychic. Was told alien people coming to take people to
safety.
Yeah.
Oh,
interesting.
And then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you going to think when it doesn't happen?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then, the fifth trumpet they're going to say is aliens, but they're going to be devastating to the earth.
So Brittany says, you'll have to pull it up there because I can't see without my glasses.
It's a theory, if you're struggling with depression, you're more susceptible to believing you're seeking out aliens. I don't know. Never heard that.
I never heard of it. Yeah.
But it makes sense because if
Yeah.
you're struggling with depression, that's
You're leaving
probably
yourself
Satan
open.
attacking you big time. And
Yeah.
of course he's going to be trying to deceive you. Yeah.
Delusions are wild for sure.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
So we're at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to whip through the news real quick. I've got a ton of it, but basically most of it is just all about the confusing stuff. So Iran threatens to turn the Mideast into hell if strikes continue. Trump is saying we're going to bomb the out of them again if they don't sign. Trump admits the U.S. has been seizing Iranian oil, which I thought was very interesting. They've been confiscating these tankers from Iran and filling them with oil from Iranian oil fields. I think from Cargill, I'm not sure, and been bringing oil to the U.S. through that. I don't know where it's getting refined or anything, but that's why the price of gas stayed down. It didn't jump really super high, and it's actually coming down again now because
he's bringing oil.
He's extracting millions of barrels of oil from Iran nightly. Yeah. Yeah, and Brittany, that's definitely Satan. Satan is involved. And when we talked about legion that Jesus cast out of the man, what was Legion doing with the man that
making him
possessed?
He was cutting himself.
He was in the caves, moaning and cutting himself.
Yeah, he was a cutter.
He was a cutter.
Yeah.
A lot of what's going on in the world right now is demonic possession.
Yeah.
And they call it all kinds of medical names.
Yes.
But a lot of it really is possession. There was a lot of it when Jesus was here on the earth. There is absolutely no reason to think that it's any different now.
Right.
And there's evidence like that.
She said that's an absolute
baller move on Trump's part. I know, right? I was like, wow.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So the U.S. renews Iran attacks. Tehran says it closed the Strait of Hormuz. Now, hold on a minute. I thought we controlled the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
Who controls the Strait?
We do.
So we actually do
them.
because we've actually been secretly securing ships, like a number of ships that we've actually helped to get through the strait because we actually do control it. Iran won't admit that we control it. They still claim they do.
Yeah, they wishful thinking.
And this is there's so much confusing news because how do you know what to believe, right? And then Iran, this is what happened just recently, 2 days ago, right? Iran launched multiple one-way attack drones to strike commercial ships transmitting the strait, but the U.S. forces in the strait downed all of them. Just took them all down before they could hit anything. Yeah.
L87 says, and this is why it says to stay firm in Christ.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's one thing I try to mention it all the time. And I thank you for bringing that up because when I talk about prophecy and the end days and the horrific things that are going to happen in the end time, I like to remind everyone that we need not be afraid.
Right.
We as Christians can trust in the Lord. It doesn't mean that we won't die,
Right.
but we know where we're going to go when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go to be with the Lord, and it's going to be at rest and peace. And if we're doing the work of God, He might just keep you alive
to see the
to continue helping people as long as we can because
Mhm.
everyone can be saved at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
And we're going to be, hopefully, we fully plan to be, if it's God's will, it'll happen, to be working as a force for God during the tribulation.
Yeah.
Helping people during that time that have not taken the mark to understand what's going on
Right.
and help them to know Jesus.
Yeah.
So that, and we're absolutely going to stay firm on the rock.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, he will
Absolutely.
make everything okay, no matter where one is.
Yeah. Just
Right.
like he did miracles in the Bible, and like, the sun stood still for a day, rocks fell from heaven, entire 200,000 man armies were wiped out in a single night. Jesus just disappeared in the midst of them when they were trying to kill him. He will keep us alive if he wants to keep us alive. If we're doing his work as a force for God, there's no reason to think he won't. So that doesn't mean he will. There's no promise of that, but the promise is what comes after. And that's the only thing that really matters, is the next life, because this particular existence that we're living right now is just a test. It's a trial. It's a place for God to find those that will love him, that he will bring into eternity.
It's a
That's
refining time.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So back to the news. This is what happened recently, but then, Trump calls off the strikes. Even though this happened, Trump called off the strikes because even though they were still attacking, he wants this deal so badly that he just called it off. And the last thing that I've seen as of today so far, I want to show you this article.
It just goes back and forth.
A peace deal.
I think a lot of it is too that he doesn't want innocent people to die.
Well, that's
I
a lot
believe-
of it. Absolutely. This is the article just recent. Oops. Let me try to get it here. No, I don't want to donate. So the U.S. Iran reached a peace deal according to the Pakistani Prime Minister. So the deal was first announced by the Pakistani Prime Minister. Both sides have declared the immediate and permanent termination of military, and the signing ceremony would be held on the 19th in Switzerland. And including Lebanon. Yeah. So that's the latest news that I got immediately before.
So there was a deal then, right?
So
A deal.
Israel is not part of the deal, but Lebanon is, and Lebanon has to stop attacking Israel. I mean, they're firing missiles at them constantly.
So maybe they'll draw their borders.
Drop their borders?
Draw
their borders. Yeah. Oh, yes. And that's the thing is, one thing that Colleen was talking about earlier from hearing a newscast on Newsmax, or was it Fox or was it Newsmax? Newsmax.
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe Fox.
But it's like
Fox.
What Trump
KT
is doing
McFarland.
is he's trying to get all of the nations that are signing on to this to sign on to it. Even though we can be almost absolutely certain that Iran is going to break the deal.
Yeah.
He's trying to get everybody to sign on first.
Well, none of them want.
So
every one of those, especially the border countries of Iran, are sick of this, and they want Iran to be stopped. So he's got all those other countries signing on to this deal. So he's got all those other countries.
Why does that happen all the time?
I don't
So
know.
I just go look at a tab
Brittany,
that's muted.
we can never
Unmuted.
trust Iran. No, we cannot.
Yeah, but that's
And I don't think that Trump does either now.
That's what I
I
think.
don't believe it.
The purpose of this, getting this signing done, is because he wants to get all these other countries on board so that when Iran breaks the treaty, he can then make another move and try to bring a peace treaty and try to get the Abraham Accords to go through and the Board of Peace to be in motion and all of that.
Yeah. I agree, Brittany.
Right.
He's too smart to try. I know. And I kept saying that. I was like, what is he doing? And I think, and then he does something really brilliant. And I'm like, now I see what he's doing. And we just need to trust him.
The thing that I like to caution people on, though, Brittany, is that what Trump's doing and the liars whispering in his ear, you have to understand that Paula White is a false prophetess. She's a false teacher.
Yeah, Paula White.
The other big, big name
Franklin
preachers,
Graham.
Franklin Graham, all of those guys that are whispering in Trump's ear, all believe in interfaithism, the lies of the Vatican, this interfaith lie, and they're whispering that in Trump's ear constantly, I'm sure. And the reason I'm sure of that is because as we watch what Trump's doing, making friends with all of these Muslim countries, and inviting Qatar to bring an air base here, and all of these things, it's like he's believing interfaith is true.
Right.
And that makes me very sad because I love Trump. I love him as president, but he is being deceived by those in his, the White House
advisory.
There's a name for, like, Paula White is.
Well, they are their spiritual
White
advisors.
House spiritual advisors. Yeah. And she's like the head of the White House church, or whatever the name for it is. But that's a sad thing. And I know Trump is brilliant, but I believe that he is deceived by that lie, the interfaith lie. And that just makes me really, I wish I could talk to him for a few hours.
So what did L87 just say in the
IRGC? That's the problem for Iranian people. Exactly. Because, and that's another thing that I was just going to bring up. So thank you for bringing that up, because the IRGC is who's really running the country. This government, the president, and those people do not run the government. They don't run the military. The IRGC does. And so this deal, the deal is almost certainly going to be broken. Right now, Iran is actually having protests and in turmoil and riots because those that are on the IRGC side are rioting and because Iran is given in to Trump, and they're all mad about it. And there's major fracturing in the Iranian government right now. So this deal means nothing, really. It means nothing. But that's why I think what he's doing this for is to get all the other signatures, which is what you had mentioned was being talked about.
He needs a support system with those other countries. And they're sick of what Iran is actually firing at all those other border countries, and they're ticked off.
And they're trying to create escalation
for
the war, right? Because the prophecies in Islam say that they need a world war or major catastrophe going on in the world for the imam to come out of the well,
right?
And begin the last days. Well, he's the 12th imam.
Oh,
the Mahdi, yes.
Yeah, and Lainey said everything is happening according to prophecy. Yes, and Brittany says I'm praying that people who will tell him.
Yes, that's what I pray for all the time, Brittany. Is it's like Islam. I talk about Islam in a very negative light because Sharia law is evil, but I don't hate Muslims. I don't hate the Muslim people. I pray that they will find the truth, that they will find the Lord Jesus Christ. I try to help any Muslim that contacts me to help them to see the fallacy of their arguments about Jesus and things like that, to try to help them see the truth. I don't hate Muslims. I hate the religion that Satan created for them that they believe. Well, and I try to help them to see that lie.
Muslims are Arabs. So we don't hate Arabian people or Arab people.
But all Arabs aren't Muslims, and not all Muslims are Arabs either.
True. Africa.
It came from Arabia, but it's spread far and wide. Yeah. It's not a race. It's a religion. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Sharia law is so evil, but to love someone is to speak truth to them, even if they hate it. Yes, amen. Yeah. Amen, little girl.
Yeah. And I'm glad you understand that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't.
And L87 said Islam is spread everywhere now. I know.
Yeah. I know. It's growing.
Yeah.
And
look what's going on in Ireland.
That's why I'm pretty sure. I'm absolutely 100% sure myself, but I can't tell you it's a biblical truth that the Antichrist will be a Muslim until it happens. I absolutely know it will be.
Yeah, me too.
But I can't tell you because the Bible doesn't specifically spell it out. It's going to be the iron mingled with clay. So it's going to be Muslims involved. But I'm absolutely positive that the Antichrist is going to be the Muslim Mahdi, that he will create the beast of Daniel 7 when he rises. And I want to, at this time, I want everybody to write this down on videos.prophecyandtruth.com.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing here? Anyway, on videos.prophecyandtruth.com under biblical prophecy, on Bible prophecy here, there's this video on Daniel 11 and the fourth beast of Daniel 7. And there's a document that goes with it. So if you prefer to read the document or watch the video, but this is where I talk about the fourth beast of Daniel 7 and how it's going to be something that does not exist yet. It's going to be a 10-nation union of Muslim nations that give their allegiance to the Mahdi of Islam when he rises, which all of Islam is waiting for right now. Yeah, cool, Brittany. Tell me what you think after.
Yeah, she said it took me a long time to understand that concept about Islam, but God had changed her heart.
Yeah.
Completely.
And we don't hate Muslims. We love them. We want them to know the truth.
Yeah, Lainey said, I suggest watch and read.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Islam is a
So,
beast army.
so finishing this up because we're almost out of time. This was old news. The deal with Iran was scheduled on his 80th birthday, which is today, which is going to happen on the 19th now. They've agreed to sign, and they're going to sign on the 19th. We'll see what happens in the next 5 days.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be signed. The Khomeini website says no, give up on Hormuz, no deal with Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, this Iran.
He's locking that in place.
This is Bongino, his newsletter. He's saying that Trump's plan worked. This is exactly what he wanted, and it's a great settlement.
Okay.
This may be, and then this is what we were talking about. That Newsmax commentator thinks this may be about all the other signatures, and I really think I think that that's true. Yeah,
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. IDF strikes Beirut. Trump was really angry about that because it was a retaliation for a Hezbollah missile attack. But he said because the missiles didn't hurt anyone, it didn't really damage anything, that they didn't need to strike Beirut. And they did anyway. It was really that's why he said it was meaningless.
Okay.
But he's angry that they did that because it puts, a possibility that the deal won't get signed, right? So, but it looks like it's going to go through. So everybody seems to have forgotten about Gaza and Hamas. And Hamas is rearming. They are not disarming. They are rearming. They are recruiting. Because remember, Islam has 2 billion to recruit from. They have recruited and rebuilt their armies in Gaza. And, they're not, they keep saying, oh yeah, they're going to do this. But then Hamas says, no, we're not going to do that. Just like Iran is saying, no, we're not going to do that.
They don't care.
It's all, and this, but all of this, I can see directly leading to a forced peace treaty, a forced 2-state solution where the confirmation of the covenant will come about with a forced 2-state solution because they'll be forced to draw the borders of Israel and give her the right to exist. And that's the covenant that will be confirmed. That is just, I'm so excited waiting for this.
I mean, I agree.
Trump speaks from both sides of the mouth. That's where I'm not going to argue about that. And no offense taken.
No offense taken.
But, and then a little bit of news, because we have to understand what Iran and what Islam is really about. Here's what, if they respect Iran's interests and act accordingly, the war will end. They think they won.
Yeah.
Right. We know they've been wiped out, but they're still saying we won. It's really weird. But then here we have the Turkish president, Erdogan. Right?
Yeah.
Erdogan. Netanyahu blasts the anti-Semitic dictator that Trump loves, right? Because Trump's making friends with all the Muslim leaders. And, it's that interfaithism thing, I think. And he thinks, remember what Trump said. Trump said that he has to bring peace to try to make it to heaven. Yeah. He thinks that he's got a works-based salvation, that he needs to bring peace to the world.
Keeping his enemies closer.
Maybe, I don't know.
Close your enemies closer. So maybe he wants to just keep certain peace with them.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he wants.
To manipulate them.
He's trying to bring peace no matter what.
Brittany, and your comment, I totally agree with you because this is,
he does that
they're
sometimes.
Regrouping. Yeah. They're regrouping Hamas. And
but there's truth to what Brittany said as well as L87, because he does speak from both sides of the mouth sometimes, but a lot of times he's just not saying what he's doing, because why tell the enemy what you're going to do before you do it, right? And he's done that a few times.
Just keep quiet about it.
No, and he's not, Brittany.
But I don't believe that Trump is an angel.
No.
I do not. I love him as my president.
I know.
I'm glad he's doing what he's doing for this country. I'm glad he's trying to reorganize the whole global petrodollar thing, and bring wealth back to the United States, stop farming out and giving everything to everybody else and destroying this country, which is what they've been doing for years.
Well,
so I'm glad he's turning that all around.
Yeah, but it's like L87 says allowing a mosque to be built in.
Yeah, right. That does not sit right with me.
No,
either.
It doesn't sit right with me either.
And allowing them to build these enclaves like the one in Texas that's going up, the ones in Minnesota and Michigan, this should not be happening here. And it definitely does not sit right with me or a lot of Americans. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
God is
using Trump.
Happen. That's gonna happen.
Right. Yeah.
But yes, Brittany, God is definitely using Trump.
For his purpose.
For God's purpose, yeah. But Erdogan, when you watch that Daniel 11 and the fourth beast of Daniel 7, think about Erdogan as possibly being the king of the north. I've been watching what he's become. Yeah. He wants the whole world to hate Israel. He's kind of taken over Iran's mantle on that, where he wants to wipe out Israel. He's trying to get all the other Muslim nations involved. And there's even rumor that they're going to go to war with Egypt, possibly. And so could this be the king of the north and the king of the south? Man, I don't know, but I'm watching.
We're watching.
So, yeah.
Ooh,
and, his whole agenda is to bring back the Ottoman Empire, because it was Turkey. It was based in Turkey. He wants the Ottoman Empire back. Now we know that the clay of Daniel 2, this is history now. The iron mixed with clay is the Holy Roman / Islamic empires that don't mix, that went back and forth for years and years, and it will be what's in power when Christ returns. That's what the prophecy says. We know that Islam is going to be involved, and I'm watching all this stuff, just like, wow.
Biting my fingernails.
Yeah. So I'm trying to rush through this because we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
Opening mosques. Talk about opening mosques.
Yeah, Russia's doing that a lot.
Massive new mosque. And here's what the Catholic Archbishop of Detroit says.
Oh, man.
I felt a powerful divine presence.
Well, you've definitely felt a presence.
Divine presence. It was a Satan presence.
Well, you know what it was. It might have been, as the article writer writes here, that, he almost certainly feels a certain moral superiority and even smugness when comparing himself to those grubby, greasy little people who preach hate and division, right? He probably felt his own heart glorifying himself and his beliefs. Certainly. Yeah. because it's your own heart that deceives you, as the Bible says.
Right.
You know, and the thing that I want to point out here too is we have to remember that the Catholic Church is the head of the snake.
Yes.
They have been for centuries. They're very good at hiding what they do and pretending to be of Christ. Oh, it's a vile, vile organization, the Vatican. Now, again, I don't hate Catholics. I hate the Satan religion, the religion that Satan has created there.
It's
and
all
what
the
he's using it
religion.
for.
It's all about the
Yeah.
religion.
The false religions I all hate. I hate all of them. The people I love.
And
I
have
want to help
compassion
them.
for them. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Irish riots are spreading against mass migration all over Europe, actually. So
England.
this is what happens when you allow them to build mosques and bring millions of, Muslim invaders in. So, yeah. And yes, the modern day Pharisees are the Jews that are mired in Judaism. Pharisaic Judaism is what it is. The rabbinic Judaism, the rabbis, they're all teaching the exact same things that the Pharisees were teaching at the time of Christ.
Yeah.
They teach the same things, the same lies. It's
and
crazy.
after this many years, they haven't learned a thing.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and Catholics make Christianity look very bad. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're not Catholic. They don't even teach true salvation. They teach that salvation is through the church.
So interesting.
So we're out of time. I'm going to try to finish this real fast. Arizona, the CARE, of course, is enraged. The school member spoke of the threat of Islam, because the Council on American Islamic Relations is a terrorist organization that's been here in this country for decades, rewriting our school books and doing all kinds of things to deceive, and just the propaganda all over the place in school, and all of our children have been brainwashed by these people. They've been in our schools that long. And then this was just kind of good news. They found this 50-foot deep, massive tunnel that they say has been used probably to smuggle hundreds of millions of dollars worth of narcotics and drugs into the United States. Wow. Because this was this massive, deep, deep tunnel into the United States that they just found.
Wow.
So I'm sure it's not the only one.
No.
But so a couple of memes to end today. A church can have all of the programs in the world, but if people aren't changing, all you have is religion and a show on Sundays.
That was mine.
True salvation. No, actually, you posted that after I posted it from a memory. So I think you stole that one from me.
Oh.
But anyway.
Maybe on Prophecy and Truth, right?
I don't remember. It was a religion. It was a memory.
I'm like, that's a lot.
So, but this is so true. Church is, it doesn't matter if they teach lies, they're of the devil. It doesn't matter how much truth they teach. If they teach one lie, that is evil. And most churches today, it's just all about the rock show, the music, the social club. And I'm not saying there's no church out there that doesn't teach the truth, but I've never found one. I've never even heard of one that does. So every church I've ever heard of that I've gone and looked at what they believe and all of the things about the church, every single one teaches lies.
And talking to the pastors.
Yeah. I've talked
when they
to
can't even
dozens
answer
of
questions.
Pastors.
Yeah.
So another meme. Let me reduce the size here so we can see the whole thing. This is the falling away that the Apostle Paul speaks of in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 has happened. We're watching it right now. All of these things are happening in today's churchianity. So that's it. I was gonna talk about the new video I just did, but I'll do that
next
in the next live because we're out of time. So I want to bring up what I brought up in the beginning, because I'm going to pray
Yes.
for what I asked for, because
Yeah.
as I mentioned in the beginning, I have found out that my cancer has resurfaced. So I'm not going to die. I don't believe I'm going to die. I believe God has a purpose for this. And what I want to pray for, what I'm going to pray right now, and I'm asking all of you to pray for with me and with us, is that God will use this to do an outright miracle, to leave the doctors dumbfounded. And so we can glorify God through this.
Mm-hmm.
If it's his will, that's what I would like, of course.
Yeah.
If it's not his will, I pray that God will guide the doctors to eliminate this vile disease from my life, completely and utterly gone. It's a waste of time. I'm busy doing the work of God. I don't want to spend my time going and doing radiation treatments and being sick. And, I've got work to do. So I'm going to pray for that right now. And I ask for you all to pray with me and to pray continually for these things with us, if you would, please. So let me say a prayer right now. Lord Jesus, thank you for everything, Lord, for all you're doing. All things work together for good to them that love you.
Yeah.
I believe that and I trust that, Lord. And I know whatever is happening is for good. And I pray, Lord, that if it's your will, that you would bring this situation into a state that would glorify your name, Lord, to magnify your name in the world, to dumbfound the doctors with an outright miracle, Lord.
Yeah.
That there be no explanation, but to glorify you. And if that's not your will, Lord, guide their hands and guide their instructions and their treatments to rid me of this vile disease, so that I can do more for you, Lord, and continue to work for you, to teach your truth, to magnify your name and glorify you, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, Lord, not my will, but yours. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
So thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you,
I love
everybody.
all of you.
Yes.
I'm here to dispel the lies of Satan, and to glorify God and teach his truth. That's the only reason we're here.
Yeah.
So, Brittany, Jody, Lainey, Kathleen, L87, Douglas.
I think you got them all.
I think I got everybody.
Yeah.
I don't have a memory anymore.
If
I know
your name was not
Johanna
called,
and
yeah.
Paul were there watching.
Yeah, Johanna and Paul were there
Johanna.
earlier. Yeah. So they're probably still there.
Lainey, Brittany, L87, Douglas, Kathleen, and Jody.
Yeah. Thank you all.
And
Appreciate
thank
the
you,
comments.
everybody,
Yeah.
for your comments and for your prayers. We appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yes, thank you.
Jody said, amen. Praying continuously. Love you, God. Love you, Jody.
I love you too,
Brittany, I'm
sister.
so happy that you're here, little girl. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you so much.
We both love you.
We both love you. Yes, we do. Absolutely. So give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already on YouTube. Follow us on Rumble if you have not already. Please turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any great uploads, because my sissy is about to start back and doing her videos again. And hopefully she can pop the blooper out real quick. And
That'd
then
be cool.
share this show with everyone you know. Spread it.
Yeah. Help
Spread
us to
the
reach
love.
more people.
Yes, help
Share
us
it,
to reach
share it,
more
share it.
people.
Yeah.
Sharing really does help. And even if somebody's not on YouTube, send them the video. Send them the video. You can copy the IRL and put it right in an email if you have to, because granny, grandpa, your neighbor, they all need to see the show. Okay.
Yeah. And the live streams are streamed on the videos.prophecyandtruth.com. on Rumble, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Kick.
Yeah, we even
all
had a
of those
few on
channels.
Kick.
So
It's
there's,
crazy.
you know, you can just copy a link and send it to anyone. So please
Right.
do help us to reach more people.
And Brittany, make
Yeah.
sure you tell Matt we said hello.
Yeah, definitely.
And then share this video with Matt.
And
Okay.
we love you too, Brittany.
Yeah, we really do love you.
I'm glad
Sissy,
you're here.
love you. What day
Love
is it?
you.
Sunday.
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So have a good
Yeah.
week.
Thank you,
Lainey
Diane.
said
Love
it's
you.
easy. All you
Love
have
you.
to do
I'll
is
be praying
press
for
share
you
and type
every
the
day,
For a
email.
every
miracle.
night.
Yes, that's right, Lainey. It's so easy to share. And those that who do share, we really appreciate you because
Yeah.
it's about getting the truth out there.
Yeah.
Not
It's
growing the
It's
channel.
not about us and our glory. It's about God's glory and
Right.
His truth,
Right.
dispelling the lies of Satan. The
Right.
world is blanketed in darkness.
Mhm.
We need to be the light.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're out of here. So we will see everybody next Wednesday. Love you. Mean it. Bye. See you.
Love you
Bye.
all. Everyone that watches.
Sissy,
later,
love you so
all
much.
of you too.